In bluelock, nothing unlocks a prodigy's true potential like the perfect rival. That's how monsters like Rin, Kaiser, and Isagi shattered their limits, pushing past what anyone thought possible. But what if there was one duo so dangerous it rewrote the story completely? Imagine this. What if Real Madrid entered the NEO EGOIST League, and instead of choosing Bastard München, Zagiuichi followed his ego, and so teamed up with Japan's greatest genius, Itoshi Sai. This shakes up the entire competition. If you thought teams like PXG and Bastard München were strong, just wait until you see this one, because Sai isn't just any player. As we saw in the U20 arc, he's leagues above bluelock's top prospects. In fact, many consider him the strongest youth player in the entire world. But what about Isagi? Why would he choose Real instead of Bastard München this time around? Well, that's simple. In this alternative scenario, instead of following his idol Noel Noah and joining the German team, Isagi listens to his ego. He chooses to follow the player that once devoured him on the field, someone not even Isagi could compete with during the U20 match, the genius Itoshi Sai. Together, they'd form the deadliest duo the verse has ever seen. With both of these prodigies being known for their immeasurable IQ, they would be by far the smartest players on the field. Not only that, but combining both metavision abilities, being those the two strongest abilities in the entire verse, this duo would give any genius a tough time. Sai's impossible passes and Isagi's deadly direct shots would create a nightmare for any defense. But bluelock isn't about teamwork. Despite working well as a duo, any player inside bluelock plays only for themselves. So what happens when one of them takes the lead? Well, even with his elite football IQ, Isagi would struggle to keep up with Sai's vision, since Sai is on a much higher level when they first meet. You see, even though Sai sees something special in Isagi, he's nothing more than a stepping stone for Sai's dream, the same dream of becoming the number one. Which means, if Isagi can't keep up with the genius, Sai won't hesitate to leave him behind. This rivalry within their own partnership will push Isagi to evolve, driving him crazy and allowing him to become stronger than ever before. Who knows, maybe even stronger than the version we saw in the original storyline. So, instead of watching Isagi and Kaiser devouring each other, this time, it's Sai and Isagi gunning for number one. But what happens when this unstoppable duo faces the one striker Sai could not predict? And more importantly, how would this new Real squad hold up against the top clubs in the NEO EGOIST League? Well, it's time to find out. First, we got the duo's debut match. Their first opponents in the NEO EGOIST League will be their biggest rivals, FC Barcha. In their first time playing together, the duo moves like they've trained for years. They combine for incredible plays with no hesitation and no wasted motion. They quickly devour Barcha's defense, creating chance after chance while shutting down Bachira completely. Within minutes, Real closes out the match with a 3-0 victory, shocking the entire NEO EGOIST League as the entire world watches. But with that being said, eventually even geniuses meet their match. Next up, they got the Italy Uber side to deal with, the only team capable of keeping up with Real in pure football IQ. And so, in this match, things would take a different turn. Thanks to their next-level tactical work, planned by the number one player in the world, Mark Snuffy, they are able to completely shut down Isagi from the start. With no space and every angle shut down, Isagi struggles to keep up with Sai's level throughout the match. This leads to Sai giving up on him, while realizing that maybe Isagi already peaked as a striker. From there, when he enters flow state, the match is already over. You see, Sai is on a completely different level than the players in front of him, and much like against bluelock, he goes on to devour the entire Uber's team, scoring the leading goal. Thanks to the sheer gap in talent, Sai leads Real to a narrow 3-2 win with a solo masterclass. This leaves Isagi enraged with himself, feeling powerless yet again, and for the first time in a long time, he started feeling like a background character. But that would soon change in the match against Nagi and Manshine City. You see, that loss would finally flip a switch inside Isagi. The awakening he experienced during the match against PXG in the original storyline would now take place in the third match of the NEO EGOIST League. And so, this time, Isagi decides not to follow Sai. Instead, he matches Sai's pace, reading plays, shaping attacks, and even creating his own chances. And then, it happens. On one play, Isagi is able to outthink Sai, and so scoring a goal that Sai didn't see coming. For the very first time, the genius is visually superior surprised. By seeing the adaptability of Isagi Oichi work for the first time, Sai decides that this is no longer just a partnership, but has now become a rivalry. At this moment, Sai sees Isagi not as a sidekick, but as a threat, and as a way to elevate his level even more. And so, in no time, Sai answers right back, putting Real up 2-0. And to finish things off, Isagi and Sai would go head-to-head trying to land the finishing blow. But instead of fighting each other like Isagi and Kaiser, they end up syncing perfectly, combining for one last play to seal the deal and give Real yet another 3-0 victory. I can't lie, this team is looking pretty unstoppable. But there is still one ego that refuses to be ignored. Enter Bastard München and Michael Kaiser. The moment he's waited for, a shot at bluelock's rising hero. As expected, he starts the match by mocking Isagi from kickoff, while showing the duo that he's not here to surrender and so scoring the leading goal. But as we well know, things never end well for the ones insulting Isagi. And unfortunately for Kaiser, Sai's ego hasn't cooled down either. Now seeing Isagi as a possible rival and wanting to get back at him, they both go head-to-head, devouring each other while tearing through Bastard's team. First Sai and then Isagi combined for outstanding goals. You see, unlike Isagi and Kaiser, who played solo, Sai and Isagi build off each other, transforming each other's plays into a better and unstoppable goal. And so, despite an early Kaiser impact, Sai and Izagi's egos completely devour the entire Bastard München squad without even looking back, breaking Kaiser and giving Real the 3-1 win, leaving even Noel Noah, the #1 striker in the world, stunned on the sidelines. Why? Well, these were not bluelock players anymore. In his eyes, they were becoming future rivals of the world's best. Alright, it's time for Sai to face the one striker he failed to predict in the U20 match, the one that allowed Isagi to take the winning goal. It's time for PXG and his little brother Itoshi Rin. This time, Rin does not care about Isagi. Instead, he's here for one thing only, and that is revenge. Now, on a much higher level than before, Rin is somewhat able to keep up with Sai on a few plays. But despite that evolution, Sai still levels above and as usual still looks down on his little brother. Shiro and Charles try go against Isagi, but thanks to battling out with Sai for the leading role, he finds himself at a much higher level than these prodigies. And so, with a combination between Sai and Isagi, Real takes the first lead of the final game. But don't lose hope just yet, because now it's time for Rin to answer. Despite being at an inferior level and not being able to go toe-to-toe with his brother in his normal state, Itoshi Rin becomes a completely different player while in flow state. You see, thanks to his unpredictability while in flow state, Rin is able to produce the least expected plays that even the smartest players can't read. And so, he's able to execute his famous crash shot, being able to not only devour his brother, but his rival Isagi, and so leveling up the score 1 goal to each team. This would leave Sai a little frustrated, but in no time, as expected, the genius would answer right back. Activating his own flow state, he would beautifully destroy the entire PXG squad, the same way he did to the bluelock team, and so scoring a solo masterpiece to make it 2-1 in favor of Real. With this, Rin would explode, reaching even bigger heights than the original storyline. But here comes the true moment. With Rin and Sai facing each other, this was the moment the hero was waiting for. In the final play, Isagi devours both, reading Rin's vision as well as breaking through Sai's structure. He punches in the winning goal. Thanks to his ultimate weapon, his adaptability, he was able to devour both geniuses and evolve further than anyone in the NEO EGOIST League, winning the championship for Real and becoming the leading actor side by side with Itoshi Sai. As for the player rankings, well, in this alternative scenario, Isagi would be by far the #1 player in the entire project, gaining the biggest offer outside Sai and Kaiser. Rin would come second, followed by Shiro, Baru, and Bachira, just like the original storyline. Thanks to Sai and Real joining the league, all top players like Sai, Isagi, and Rin find themselves at a much higher level than before. Even if he's still the stronger player, Sai now sees Isagi as a perfect tool to elevate his own ego. With Isagi, he now sees a way to defeat his greatest rival, Bunny Iglesias. But what happens next? Can you imagine how good this team would be if Rin decides to join the duo? Or better yet, what if instead of Real joining, we would create a scenario where every top player switch sides and join a different squad? Well, if you wanna know what happens, click on this one next, and check out this alternative scenario where every top player switch sides in the NEO EGOIST League. Go on!